Welcome back to Tamika Willis and her dividends, where we take risks and build a better future one dividend at a time. I want to further elaborate on why most people stay broke even when they have a job. Okay, so listen, you guys, back to what we were talking about, I guess, before the video had cut off. I want to say that you get tied into the rat race. You get tied into whatever hours they're giving you, and you basically are settling. And you don't have to settle when you do the dividends that I'm talking about. So literally, once you are using your paychecks to create new paychecks, then you're going to be so much happier. You're going to be basically happy on the inside because you're holding literally a little secret. And then one day you'll be able to quit that job completely. Once you are obviously bringing in enough dividends, you could be bringing in 30,000 a year in dividends, but you'll want to mix, in order to do that. So if you're not going to use $1 million, okay, so then you would obviously have some risky stocks in order to accomplish and achieve that goal. Okay, so you should not be scared to invest in certain companies. You'll want to do your research. Okay, so when you're doing your research, you'll basically go to Google Stock Analysis. That's a website you'll go to. You can type in different stocks that you're interested in investing in. So then you'll literally be able to know, has that stock been consistent with their payments? Did they pay the previous year? Did they pay the previous year? And did they pay the previous year? So you'll have confidence in putting a lot of money in that stock because you'll know that yes, they paid the previous quarter or they paid the previous month. So you want to ensure that you're going to get that dividend in the future. That's the point of doing that. And if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to like the video, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to check out the rest of my money motivational videos. And you guys, if you're really not sure about investing in dividends, that's the point of subscribing to my channel. Okay, so before you buy your first dividend, you're probably going to feel a little bit scared, like, when am I going to be receiving this? I just spent money on Macdonald's. I'm using Macdonald's. Instead of you going out to eat, you spent it on the company, where now you have some ownership going. That's the point of it too. So when you buy Home Depot, now you're considered a little bit of the owner. You know what I'm saying? A fraction. Not a lot of ownership, but enough that they're paying you for being, pouring into their company. Okay. And it's very rare. We don't know if Spirit Airlines had a stock, but if they did, they would be a great example. If they had a stock, let me pretend you own 20 shares of Spirit Airlines. This is if they had a stock. You would just lose all the money you had into Spirit. And this does happen. This happens when you buy risky stocks. So if you bought a stock and obviously it didn't make it through a crash. We had a crash a few months back. So if it doesn't make it through, yeah, you would possibly lose the money and you'd be a little sad on the inside. But that's the point too, is you want to constantly each month put a little bit of money in your portfolio to ensure that the balance stays beautiful, to ensure your money is stacking even if you are to lose a few stocks here and there. It pretty much is going to stay leveled, or it's going to double up enough that you're not so worried about companies that dropped off. Okay, so that's my recommendation there. And my recommendation is to not invest in stocks if you don't really have all that extra income. So if you're the person who has small money to put into the stock market, only invest in well-known companies. That's my recommendation there. But if you are the person who has a little bit of extra money to spare, I'm going to say for you, you're ready to even do the risky stocks. But again, that's going to be completely up to you on which stock or company you're going to choose, okay? And the other reason that people just end up broke is once you're tired. When you're tired, you're not able to think of new ways to create income for yourself, which is pretty normal. you're drained because you put all your energy and time into the company that you're working for. You let them decide your hours, and you're literally putting your 5 to 6 days a week into them instead of pouring it into yourself and putting money into your account where you can create wealth and income for yourself. So yeah, my best advice is, if you're caught up in that situation, is to still, if you're able to put $10 to $20 aside if your budget is so tight, and you could put that into the stock market for yourself, where there are certain sites like Cash App where you could literally buy, you just put $1 there, and Nike $1, I'm just giving you different companies, $1 into obviously Starbucks, $5, might be the minimum. It'll let you know depending on the site that you're on. You could put $5 into Starbucks that month, $5 into Starbucks that month. But it could take longer to get a nice dividend if that's what you're doing. If you want a really nice dividend, then obviously you might be doing a few hundred. Like if the company, so here's the thing, if the company if it costs, let me use McDonald's. So let me pretend McDonald's is selling shares for $330. That's not going to really pay you that much. So if you bought a full share of McDonald's, you'll find this out. You need to put so much money into McDonald's before you get enough money to fund you and your lifestyle. Okay, now with a risky stock, the stock could cost $20 to $30 as an example, okay? Say that stock costs only $25. You could literally buy 8, I don't know how much that could be. If you bought 8 of those, whether that ends up being $250 to $300, right? So that might be the right stock for you. It depends on you and your situation and what you're comfortable with doing. I'm just giving you an overview of what to expect. That stock, the fact that it's risky, a lot of the times they do pay a little bit higher. And it'll be up to you. But again, I'm just reminding you, when it's a risky stock, you risk losing your money at some point in time unless you sell. Now, if you had bought 20 shares of McDonald's, a lot of the times you're good to go. You could be good to go for 20 to 30 years, okay? So that's what I'm recommending. If you have that extra money to put aside, maybe you'll have it during tax time, or you just took out a loan. It depends on the person, but I'm definitely going to say